So if you ever want to become somebody who is powerful, you should learn to play the underdog for a period of time. Never ever outshine the master. This is the episode 1 of my book breakdown called the 48 Laws of Power. And I feel like this book is packed with knowledge. Please get your copy if you like the ideas I share in this video. So now, you never outshining the master is this. Most people have talent, right? Just being themselves, you're already talented. But a lot of people, they heavily overestimate their talents. 1, 2, they are driven by ego. And in that process, right, they try to outshine the people who are above them. Now, when you outshine people who are above you or who are on your same level, what happens? It drives massive insecurity in them. And this is where I feel like the smartest people in this world, they know how to play with people's insecurities, how to work with it, not work against it. Because if you work with people's insecurities, you can achieve a lot. It looks like manipulation, but if you're a good person, which I believe you are, then you can use it to your advantage. But if you work against their insecurities, you are in for a very long one. So whenever you have a boss or people who you are working with, you get to realize that there are 2 things. 1, you can be better than them by just being your authentic self. Or you get to realize that, which is a very big realization that we're discussing here, is just because he likes you does not mean that you should attempt to outshine the master. Now, he gives a couple of practical tips here, right? He says that in a situation where you are in public with the master, give him praise, right? If you have an idea and you're bringing that idea to the public, make them realize that that idea came from the master to you and you're just echoing it out. That means attribute a lot of the ideas or your good works to the master. Yes, it will help to boost the master's image. In that process, it is boosting his ego. Remember when I said that if he becomes insecure, it's most likely because his ego, it would not allow for you to overtake him. How will you do that? But when you're much more calm, when you're relaxed, you understand human psychology, right? You get to realize that you let him win. Keep your ego in check, right? Your ego is not important in this point because why? You being an underdog, you are being there for a reason. I tell people that breaking the law, right, is not really a wise thing to do if you have not mastered the laws. When you master the laws, when you beat that underdog for a while, intentionally, not being an underdog for an indefinite reason, but when you are the underdog for the reason intentionally, knowing that you're going to become powerful later, it becomes a wise thing to never ever outshine the master. Because why? It's going to drive insecurities. And if you look around you, you're going to realize that it's the same thing you see in friends. If you're somebody who is doing better than some people, right? Most people will become fearful. They'll try to tear you down. Even by having an idea of a goal and telling your friends about it, they will give you 10,000 reasons why that goal will not be successful. Now, I must say that sometimes it goes 2 ways. Now, sometimes some people who don't like you, who will become jealous that this guy has goals, he has ideas that could make him better. So you tell it to them, they tear it down. But there are some other group of people, they want the best for you, right? But because they are very familiar with you, they've seen your successes, they have seen your failures. And to be very frank, I see myself in this category, and I'm intentionally trying to stop it, where if I already know you and what you're capable of, you can change down the line and become more capable and be able to achieve your goals and your dreams. So in this context, there are people, this is why I say strangers will be your key to success, because they don't know you, they don't know your potential. They know that you have potentials. You have to prove the potentials. But the people who are already familiar and comfortable with you, most likely know that they most likely know your limits. This is why I tell people to deal with a lot with strangers, because to be very, very frank, the people who know you already see you a certain way. So back to this topic is somebody who has used this idea to his advantage is Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs says that he only hires A+ players, not A players, because I'll get back to you shortly on why A players, not why he goes for A+, not A players. Because if you go for maybe B players, which is what you think you can afford, B players will end up employing C players. which is people who are worse than them. The reason they will do that is because, like I said, they know that the C player cannot outshine the B player in life. So you make sure that they hire people who are dumber than them. Because when they see somebody who's sharper than them, and this is one good reason why a lot of bureaucracy happens in companies all around the world. And in that process, this is why you see that a company starts in a garage, grows very big, employs people, bureaucracy starts coming in, and before you know it, ideas are not really flowing so well, and before you know it, the innovation dies out. Matter of time, the company dies out. But when Steve Jobs went for A+ players, A+ players have a thinking, and this is Steve Jobs' philosophy. This is why his philosophy is super interesting. When I get A+ players, what happens is A+ players will realize that for a specific task, I will get somebody who is better than me in that task, right? And that is it. You'll get an A player in that task. Yes, down the line, it can go bad. But what is basically going to happen is that the A+ player will not feel insecure because he realizes that this person who is employing is an A player in just that particular task. But the A+ players, they bring it's like they're T-shaped, They have depth, right, in a particular field, and they have some level of depth, shallow depth in other fields. When he brings an A player to go depth on that particular field, he knows that the A player can't outshine him in other fields because he sees that he's bringing more than just that one aspect of topic. He's bringing more than one aspect, and before you know it, that culture, that mindset of bringing only the best will transcend all over the company, all over. Because he understands that if he brings in B players or just straight A players will dumb down the idea and they would not employ people who are better than them. In that process, damaging the future of the company. Now, something that Robert Greene says is by letting other people feel like they are better than you, it keeps you more in control. Because why? The person who can stroke your ego controls your ego. And that's, like I said, a lot of men who are ego driven are easier to control. And to be very frank, I always tell people to check their ego because the people who understand human psychology, they will stroke your ego to the maximum. Now, instead of you being a victim of their jealousy, their insecurity, let them be better than you. Same thing with friendships, right? And I often tell people that, especially people who are around me, I say something like, because sometimes I see the insecurity in them, especially when it comes to the body shape and everything, body shape, confidence and everything. I say, hey, come, there are things that you are better than me at. Look at it first. Like, acknowledge that, yes, in this area, you are better than me. And if you choose to be good in this area, let me know, right? What's so bad about it? But I often see some jealousy, right? And I feel like jealousy is a very funny thing because you are being jealous of somebody else's life. It's quite questioning, right? And most often than not, a lot of the times, when I see that the person is not willing to step up his game, I walk away. Because to be very frank, there's really no point being with somebody who is jealous. It will just lead to frustration. I'm not here trying to stroke my own ego because, to be very frank, if you have followed me for a while, you get to realize that there's really no point stroking your ego. Like, there's really no point. And you get to enjoy life more when you see how the ego has made you do a lot of stupid things. I'm just reflecting on how much stupid things I have done because of ego. And the ego is still there. The ego serves a purpose. I'm not going to tell you to kill your ego, but control it. Control your ego. And I think I made a video about controlling your ego sometime in the past. So just check my channel, you see it. I've made a lot of videos there. A lot of videos that will improve your life. So that's about it. Never outshine the master. Primarily because it's going to drive insecurities. If you have any ideas that you believe are better than the master, tell it to him in private and make him realize that the idea came from him. You're just the one who maybe tweaked it, realized it, and giving it back to him. And then he will like you for it. Everybody likes a smart servant, right? And if you're not, this is the same technique that actually a lot of smart women use on their husbands. Because they understand that when the woman understands that if she can actually give a man full respect, trust me, she actually has power. Unlike these women we have today where they are trying to control the men. In that process, we are just killing his ego And in that process, he cannot bring out his full self for you. He cannot bring out his full self for you. So I often tell women that, yes, it feels demeaning, right, to give up that thing you call power. But think about it. If you actually zoom out and realize that most of the time, because of ego of men, a lot of women, they find it easy to control their men. Not by being assertive, right? But by being more persuasive. Like, yeah, that's it. A lot of women try to be this dominant person who is asserting herself, her personality over the man. Like I said, it's crushing his ego, and in that process, it's crushing his spirit. It's a matter of time before he becomes a docile person. But the woman who understands this will know how to basically use that her feminine energy to persuade, because she's stroking his ego. And yes, she's giving him respect, stroking his ego, doing different things. And I've just showed you how you can take an idea in this book into business and into relationship. And if you're somebody who stays this far, who stays this long, let's talk. Which other areas of life do you think not outshining the master comes in place, right? Because it's a thing that I believe super important. So if you're somebody who stayed this long, it means that you take yourself very, very seriously. Very, very seriously. And I would recommend you share this video, because sharing this video with somebody else who is taking himself serious is a selfless act in itself. And that selfless act would basically, right, help us to make this channel grow and make us realize that there are literally people out there who are enjoying this message. So thank you very much for staying this far. Go ahead, share this video, and we'll talk to you soon. See you in Law 2. So go out there and never outshine the master.